What's up, guys? Welcome to the Roadhouse. Today we're just going to be going over some info to try to get you started off right in the new league, Dawn of the Hunt. So the first question I see people mostly asking is, why should I even play a new league? To start with, Standard is a server that's never wiped clean. Your characters continue to be on there. If you do play on a new league, at the end of that league, your characters are moved over to the Standard League. And this can be fun because some stuff that doesn't exist in the new league, like items that were changed and nerfed, will still exist in standard. So you could potentially make down the line some crazy builds with items that don't exist in the new league anymore. So it's appealing to some people. Some people really like it, but it has its downsides. Generally, whenever a new league comes, we don't get the new content. When a new league happens, it's almost like a testing period to see whether or not that's going to be a permanent mechanic brought into the game. And if it is, then whenever the league is done, your characters and everything get moved over to standard. The mechanic is added as a permanent feature into the game, and then you carry on until the next league starts. And that's basically the cycle. This time around, as the first league in PoE 2, they're kind of doing things a little bit different.
There is one more thing we wanted to clarify before we move on, which is that all the content we've talked about today will be made available in the existing early access leagues, so you can play your existing characters. However, there will be new leagues made for those who wish to start in a fresh economy. It is recommended to start over and get the full new experience in the Dawn of the Hunt League.
So this has kind of split some people questioning whether or not they want to start fresh whenever everything resets. But why should you? If you get to keep all your stuff, you're getting all the new content, why should you restart? Well, there's a brand new fresh economy, which means a lot of things. It means that you're not going to be massively behind. You have a chance to kind of get set up before inflation happens, and some of the more valuable items are skyrocketed in price. There's some huge advantages to playing early. You can often get really good deals on some fairly good items that people are looking to sell. They're selling them early. They know people don't have as much currency, so they're going to be listed at a lower price. So you might be able to snag up a weapon that's worth 20 exalts for only 5 on the first day or two, and you try to sell that a couple days later, you're going to notice it's a lot higher price because people have started to get a little bit of currency drops. They actually have money to pay, and it just means that you can try to be one of the ones getting an advantage in that economy. Now, also, just keep in mind, like they said in the interview, there's going to be some drastic balance changes in this patch. So if you continue to play standard, don't necessarily expect to log in and have your character function exactly how it did before. It may be considerably weaker or have some of the interactions you're using nerfed, and it's likely that they're going to change a lot of things on the passive tree entirely, which you may have to, reset up your passive tree and do all of that stuff. So those are just some small things to consider, but either way, with the massive amount of content we've got coming, I'm sure you're probably going to have a blast regardless of what you choose to do. Now, one of the first things you can do to really prepare for a new league is find a league starter. Now, this is completely optional, but it's something that almost anybody who's played PoE for a long time is going to highly recommend. So a league start, for anybody who doesn't know, is basically just a build that's been tried and tested and that we know is extremely strong. That we've gone over the patch notes, looked at it, we know that there's not a whole lot of nerfs to it, or maybe it even got buffed a little bit, and this is just going to be something that you can start off with, has no high requirements or high barrier to entry, and you're just going to have a smooth time playing it without much issue. Imagine you tried to play something that's experimental, something that's brand new, just coming out. This could end up being amazing, and you could just be blasting through everything, but there could also be some issues with this skill. There could be some bugs. Maybe the damage just isn't good flat out, and that could just lead to you having a very bad time, and you're sitting there just dying over and over again, doing almost no damage, and it could just not be fun. So a lot of the times people choose to do that as a second or third character. They play a first league starter, build up some currency, and get to the end game a little bit, and then they use that currency to re-roll and experiment with new things. So as you can see on the page that I'm on, I'm just trying to show you some examples of good resources to be able to find a league starter. This is the Maxroll website, and I've also got the Mobalytics website up on here. Both of these have content creators that are basically play this game as their job, and they make a lot of really good guides, really fleshed out, like starter builds over here on Mobalytics, you know, Crypt's Lifestacker Infernalist. They've got written information, item examples, shows you all of the skills you need. Everything's laid out for you, and 99% of the time they have a video to go with these. So you can find those videos on YouTube. But stuff like this, I'm not trying to talk trash on this guy at all, but watch out for things like this. People putting out examples of what's a good league starter before the patch notes have come out. That's never a good idea. A lot of the times, these builds that he's suggesting are probably going to get nerfed to the ground in one way or another and may not be a good league start at all. So wait till the patch notes come out and people will actually start making real builds that you know will be good. If you do choose to create your own build and you want to just wing it, that's perfectly fine. But I highly recommend you use this resource to help you out. It's poe2.ninja. This website is the best possible crowdsourcing tool you can find for PoE. You can go over here and click builds. Like you're playing standard league, click this. It's going to show you a lot of the top characters in the league, an exact breakdown of like how many people are playing which class, you know, what some of the top unique items are, and you can customize this greatly. You know, you're playing an invoker and you're using Tempest Flurry. Now all that you're seeing is Tempest Flurry invokers, and you can look over here to get an idea of some of the unique items that they're using, the skills, their linked gems, passives, basically everything. You can even go in here and click on one of their pages and you can see all of the items that they have equipped, all of their stats, their exact passive tree, all the information you could want. And nobody's telling you you have to come in here and copy any of this and just paste it for your own with no originality. If you're wanting to be original, that's perfectly fine. But this is a tool that you can use to kind of get an example of what other people are using to, you know, like, hey, why are 83% of people using Rage with Tempest Flurry? Maybe that's something I want to try out because I haven't considered it. So I would highly recommend using this if you're trying to build your own thing. So if you're playing on PC, you need to have a price check macro. This is just going to save you so much time, such a useful tool. You just go over here to, I'm going to put this link down below. This is for Exiled Exchange 2. Just download it, run it. It's going to be good to go. Once you have it installed, this is just a basic price check macro. So you can press shift space and it's going to pull up this overlay, which you can go over here to the settings. You're going to want to make sure that you're set to the correct league or else the prices won't be right. And then you also want this to set to exact values, not off, because you don't want to price the item for like 10% off rolls or else you're not going to get a good price. And once you have that set up, you can just come over here and the basic hotkey is like Control D. So, you know, if you got this and you're new and you have no idea, you price check it, boom, you see, oh shit, these are worth one divine cheapest, 665 exalt, 700. You can get a general example of what the item is worth. Same with, say, these unique gloves, Dodre's Tenure. You can pick them up. You see, it's not really worth all that much. But you can also even check if you wanted to. You slide these bars all the way up. What if I got one that was perfectly rolled? Would that be worth anything? You come in here, it's not necessarily worth the most, but some items might be. It just gives you a little bit of information, lets you price check items on the fly, maybe even while you're inside of a map. That way you don't have to go pull up a trade site, search for all this stuff, waste all this time, and then you can just keep blasting. So now that you have a trade macro, you're ready to take advantage of the economy. And to do that, you need to have currency, which means you can't necessarily just be wasting it all the time on subpar items. So, especially things like exalted orbs, chaos orbs, especially divine orbs, you don't want to use these on items that are just trash. If you're using an exalted orb or a chaos orb on an item, you need to know it's already a fairly good item and it's only going to get better. But if it's potentially an item that is probably going to be worthless, you do not want to use that currency on it. It's much more likely you could use 5 exalted orbs, hit 5 bad rolls on items, and you're just going to be screwed. But you could have just saved those up, went to the trade site, and bought something extremely good for those 5 exalted orbs, and there's no risk involved. You just do a trade with somebody, get the item, continue about your way. So you really don't want to be wasting those things. On top of that, some of the more expensive items like perfect jeweler's orbs and divine orbs, these things get extremely expensive. But at the beginning of a league, like I said, people don't have a lot of currency to spend. So if you get stuff like a divine orb, or if you're able to buy divine orbs early, this can be extremely good because as inflation continues, divine orbs will go from being worth 50 exalts to 200 to maybe like they are right now 800 plus exalts. So you could buy some divine orbs on day 1 maybe for 20, 50 exalts or something like that, and then just watch the price skyrocket. A couple of days later, maybe you go to work for a few days, come back, those are worth 150 exalts a piece. So just general stuff like that you can do to take advantage of the economy. Don't waste your currency orbs if you don't have to, but feel free if you do have a good item that you know is for sure good. Yeah, maybe it's okay to toss an exalted orb on there and just see if it gets even better. One quick note I want to add here is that a lot of new players might not know that they're kind of sitting on a jackpot sometimes. So I'll use this as an example. This is a in-game boss unique that you can't just get as a random drop, but it's just a good example. This item gives 38 to 98% increased bonuses gained from equipped rings. Now, whenever it drops, it can drop anywhere in that roll table, anywhere from 38% to 98%. So if you got an item like this as a drop and it drops with 38%, it's likely it's not going to be very valuable. You might price check that 1 exalt. Oh, this is trash. But if you happen to get a good unique item that has perfect rolls, say you got this thing with 98%, it's going to be worth astronomically more if it's a fairly good item. This holds for most unique items. So if you get a really good leveling unique, something maybe like Widow Hail, and it has a perfect roll on it, you might have seen it before, only seen it as 1 exalt, but that one you just got might be worth a divine orb. So stuff like that is important to know, and it can definitely get you a lot of money early if you're just sitting on some of those items. Last thing, make sure you have a loot filter. This is probably the most important thing you can do whenever playing Path of Exile. Loot filters are absolutely pivotal. Just hide some of the complete trash items that you don't need, as well as highlighting a lot of the items that are more valuable and that you definitely want to pick up so that way you don't miss them. Add shiny colors, loot beams, sometimes noises whenever more expensive items drop, and it's going to help you not miss things and save you a lot of time. I've set up over 10 new player loot filters. I just made a video about it. I'll try to put a link to it up above. I'm going to make additional ones for the Amazon as well. So if you need a new player loot filter, you can feel free to search Killikim number 1911 on Filterblade. Check out my last video if you don't know exactly how to do that. I've got it all explained there. And just get you a loop filter. Make sure you're good to go. This will save you a lot of time. All right. I hope this helped at least a few people out there. If it did, maybe like and subscribe. Trying to at least hit that first milestone of 100 subscriptions. So it'd be great if you helped me out, if I helped you out. If not, maybe leave a comment down below. Tell me what I could do better. Leave me some feedback and let me know. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.